Either you're getting leveraged or you're leveraging.
Real service is genuine. It's a give without expecting a get.
You're not going to tell our kids you have to go do this. You got to be an entrepreneur. If they're into it, I'm going to show you out. If you want to be a doctor, I'm going to get behind that. You have to do that for your employees. If you do that, you can create a culture.
If you want the positive things to keep showing up, then focus on the positive things.
And I don't mind the 99% who just took my information and made money. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't need anything.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
All right, Blue Collar Millionaires, Chris and I back again. We're going to talk about 4 things. I'll let you get going. You want to name them?
Yeah, 4 things that I've learned. 41, I've been doing business for about 22 years, 41 years in life, and it seems pretty consistent. There's 4 things that really determine your success in life. You're going to be looking at arbitrage. You're going to be looking at people. You're going to be looking at leverage, and you're going to be looking at service. Those 4 things right there. Anytime that I have seen someone with extreme success has done those 4 things very well. So if we went and started with leverage in my personal life, and I've seen in your life, especially on people, leveraging people, their time, you're leveraging the time of the people. I have leveraged people's money. I have leveraged people's belief system because they would believe in me when I couldn't see what I was capable of. And that gave me enough encouragement to keep pushing in until I could see the reality of it. So leverage is something that a lot of times we use in our life, but don't really identify it and clarify that's what's happening. And I think when you start to clarify things in your life, then you start to operate on those things more often because you understand that they're very strategic in the movement of your success. So leverage is number 1. Where's your experience of leverage been? I know, especially with real estate, I was leveraging people's money early days, plus my own, quite often.
Yeah, I think leverage is key. And this is not a bad thing. It's going to sound like it, but either you're getting leveraged or you're leveraging.
Yeah, it works both ways, for sure.
And why would you be okay getting leverage? You're young, you're starting off, you don't have money, you can get other things. But I was always thinking about leveraging like at 16.
Mm-hmm.
I had my buddies come cut lawns with me and I saw, well, I can get more done on a Saturday. And I leveraged their time. Back then, I mean, you're paying people $50 a day, which is like $200 now.
Yeah.
And they would produce $140 for me or 100, whatever it is. And I'm like, this is a great thing. That's how all I thought about is how do I get 10 guys doing that? How do I get 15 guys? So you have to do it. Leveraging on real estate, that's an incredible deal. It almost seems unfair. Like the bank is going to be your partner.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much you make, they're only going to take this little set amount. You would be like, why are they doing that? Now it can go the other way. If it does wrong, you
can over leverage.
You can over leverage. And I did that myself in 2008 because it gets addictive.
Yeah, right.
So you have to be careful with that. And you can over leverage on employees. You get too many of them. You have too many costs. You bought too many trucks. So you have to be really smart about leverage. A lot of guys, they say, oh, it's just easier to do it myself or I'm a one-man gang or anything. But I never saw one of those guys get rich.
Yeah. I have found when I use leverage in life, it has allowed me to get to the place I'm trying to go much quicker. I remember my dad saying, son, never go in debt for anything except for the house. He said, my dad taught me that, and I'm telling you the same. And my dad is extremely wealthy. He's very frugal, knew how to make a lot of money, and he's done very well off. Thankfully, he didn't make me a trust fund kid, so I've had to learn my own path, and I believe that hardship is something that is a gift to most of the blue-collar world. But I looked at leverage as, well, if I have to sit here and I have to save this money up and I can't go to the bank and get a loan out on this car, this vehicle, this truck mount, whatever, it would have taken me so much longer to be able to earn that money enough put to the side so that I could purchase that. So my growth pattern has been much faster by able to leverage the bank's money. But when you think about, right now we're in a position where I'm hiring a bunch of really skilled people. Leveraging their skills and their experience is the ultimate delegation hack of all time, because when we go into business, typically we're the technician that understands how to do it. And so we're like, oh, we can go do this. We can do it great. Then after we get into business, we realize, we actually need some business acumen. We need some understanding of the fundamentals of how a business works, from that marketing to the sales to the operations to the finance. And we realize that grabbing all of those skill sets at a really high level, in-depth level of understanding is impossible when you start to grow, if you're growing with speed for sure. So that's when I look back and I'm realizing, especially in this moment right now, on the skill sets that we're hunting for to plug into our business so that we can keep that growth pattern with high quality at the same time. So leverage has been really huge in my life, and I see it huge in everyone. The other thing is arbitrage. I learned this word when I was in real estate, and it was mainly talking about Airbnbs, how you didn't have to own the property. You would go in, you would rent that property, and then you would lease it out by the night through Airbnb or any of these other short-term rental sites. And they mentioned arbitrage. I remember when I heard that word, I thought, that's sexy right there. That word is. And I look back and we do the same thing, and people is going to be recurring through this, even though it's one of that 4 elements. But we arbitrage people's time all day, every day in businesses, because we take their time and we purchase it from them, and then we go resell it as a service to a customer, and then we take the spread. And we do this on products, if you have any type of products. So we're purchasing it at a wholesale rate let's say I go in and I do crawl space encapsulation on a house. So I'm purchasing that product at a wholesale rate, and then I'm selling it with a markup. And that spread is nothing but arbitrage. In every place in business, you're going to find that. And it goes back again, this is something that businesses are doing, but when you identify it and you label it, now you understand how to use it more often inside of your business so that you can reach the goals that you want to reach.
I think the key I love the term arbitrage. It's cool. It's fun. This is why I like that sub model, the model I did with Gutter King that eventually got to. And then what we're doing in windshield, because it's so easy to arbitrage because the numbers are set. So when you have employees out there and trucks and vans and people break glass and have to go back for jobs, it's hard to track that actual number. But when you know I'm paying $250 to get this done, I get $600 and I have $100 in material costs, you already know how it works out. And it doesn't change. That you pass those issues and stuff on to the other people. To me, that's why it works so well, because you can see it clearly, and then it frees up time to how do I arbitrage more.
Yeah, and we were sitting there talking about before this podcast about the windshield business that we're involved in, and how that arbitrage situation is like watching this model and watching the model play out. Our buddy Shy, he used the term paper contractor the first time I'd heard that term, and really that's the most successful businesses are businesses that are really good at marketing and sales. And that is what we have became inside of the windshield business, an excellent marketing and sales company. We just happen to have the widget of windshields. And then we are leveraging and arbitraging the subcontractors in the local market that appreciate the fact that we're feeding them volume of work. So it's a win-win on both sides. And I think that's another really good thought process to think about in this, is because I have seen these 4 things that we're talking about today manipulated into a negative aspect in business. But when you really try to make sure everybody's winning, that creates the happiest style of business, and both sides walk away feeling fulfilled.
Yep.
You got the one that's bringing the offer, and you got the one that's bringing the value, the service for that offer. And that's what gets me excited about business, because it's not just a one-sided win. And with arbitrage, there's always a way to have a win-win, and we show it every single day inside the windshield business with that subcontractor model.
Absolutely.
What about people? I know people, man, that's how you were able to make your exit, and you were absentee owner when you made your exit in the gutter business. I mean, people they will make or break you.
Well, I'll tell you, because I'll use that as an example. When I think of all the companies I own or have ownership in, I don't think there's anybody who's not at least a B player. We have a lot of A players. In that gutter company, it's stacked with A players. But there was a time when I was steady with C and D players.
Yeah.
And
got to start somewhere.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's way harder. So when I look at, like, say that the earn out, so I basically took 75 cents on the dollar on my sale, and I got 25 cents to go get.
Yeah.
And then there's tiers on the earn out. We're going to even go above the 100. But if you told me 10 years ago You're going to sell this company. Then you got 1 year to get this whole other stack of money, but you're like not going to be involved. First of all, I'd say, why would I ever do that?
Right.
And then how would that even happen? But I have so many A players. And in that case, just they're A players in another country. They're just great people and and that's why it's growing without me. And I'm not involved in it because it's A players. If that was C players, because I know all about having C and D, first of all, you wouldn't get the earn out. And second of all, I'd be up all night trying to figure it all out, fixing everything. And they might listen to this. I'll tell you about private equity. There's a whole bunch of C and D players up in that company.
Yeah.
Because we're saving them all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they're seeing that now too. Because they're always like, man, your team is like, so you got to get A players. And then here's the number one thing about getting A players is you can't be a D company. Got to be honest with yourself. Right. I had some D companies and then think you're going to attract A players. I think you can only attract one grade above, and that's if you're a visionary anyway. Yeah. So if you have a B company or a B minus company, you could probably get some A players in there if you can convince them of the vision, and then you got to deliver. Mm-hmm. We know some guys, I'm not saying all these things wrong. They don't give any type of benefits.
Right.
They got crappy trucks.
Right.
The owner's always yelling at people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's downtime where there's not enough work and everything. I'll call that like a D company. How can he expect to get A players? They're just going to go to the company that has all the things they want.
The exact same thing happens on the customer end of it when you're like that. So, I mean, when I think of people, I think your customer and your team. And, John Maxwell, big leadership guru, and I use the word loosely there, but he's got the law of the lid concept. And that is why I believe it is so important for the leader of the company to make sure that they are very structured, because if they're not structured, then what are they expecting an A player to come to? The A players aren't, because A players are structured. You can look at sports, you can look at business, you can look at any arena in life, and anyone that's running at a level of success has a very high level of structure to their life. They have patterns in their days, they have patterns in the way they communicate, they have patterns in their actions. And if you don't have those patterns that are routines and routines that produce predictable success, then you're not going to have someone that does, as we're referencing an A player. Yeah. That A player does. So why would they leave their place of consistency to come over to chaos? Why would they leave their... And another thing that I've noticed is this is why I also believe it's very important to grow, because a lot of folks say, well, I don't want to get big. I just want to stay small. I don't want that headache. I'm making good money now. That's great. But if it's always going to be dependent upon you, because A players are not coming over to a small organization. They're coming over to something where they see growth opportunity in. And I was able to snag some of my best players when I started offering phantom equity. When I started offering them, here's your base, here's your incentive pay as we hit these goals, and here is what's going to happen since we are basing our growth on a sale later. And this is how you get an early retirement check so that you can deploy, and then you can turn around and do it again with someone else. And hopefully we can find something where we can all do it again when I'm talking to my leadership team. It changes the game on who you're able to get. And when you start with those C players. But as soon as you get an A player, it's like a breath of fresh air. You realize that you're not crazy for expecting higher expectations from someone, and it makes it easier for you to cut the C players loose because you realize how much they're holding you back. I've heard it from many places, and they talk about how one A player outperforms two C players. So if you think of it, let's say a C player is costing you $50,000. You got two of them, that's $100,000, but you go pay $80,000 to an A player. Mm-hmm. We would all sit there in the beginning without thinking about that and say, oh man, they're too expensive. But the reality is they just saved you $20,000 a year, and they're outperforming the two C players. So when
you're always better off doing that. I'll give you another one on that, on a few things. So I'll tell you what I do because it's easy. And then you'll say, well, I don't have maybe the money to do that. Mm-hmm. But then I'll tell you what I would do if I didn't have the money, because I did this too. So for mine, when I was talking about that earn out to get those A players, they're all getting big bonuses. So they're tied to it.
Right.
But I mean, some of them are 3-4 times their salary.
Yeah, you have to tie them to the
I want them to go buy real estate. I want them to get investment properties, and then they're just going to come back. So if you say, oh, self-sees, I'm going to make them have this big win. Mm-hmm. They already got one on the first rip. Mm-hmm. Now they get this next one. That's why I'm out of it. That's strategic. Right. I don't want to do gutters anymore.
Right,
I'm on to
right.
what we know what I'm on to,
Yeah,
on the new
right.
stuff. And then I want them to really win on that. But here's what I would do. If you don't have the money and you say, I can't go buy new trucks, I can't give them health insurance. Okay, I know, I've been there. What you do is change the culture to an A culture. It's very important. And you do that by, if you have no money, this is what I did a long time ago. Everybody who was working for me, I thought about what do they want, not what do I want for them. They either want more money, recognition, autonomy, be left alone,
Yes.
or they want a cool place to work with a couple of friends they like the people. You'd be shocked how many people aren't money. You can ask them because you can talk to them, but you should be talking to them. But I think it was 20% of the people was about money. The other ones are easier to go.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
then I start asking them, and I say, let me put them in a position where they enjoy coming to work. Or I had some guys who were really good. They didn't want to manage people and be with guys who weren't working hard. I put them together. Like, you just figure out what they do, and then it makes it very hard to leave because, and I know this, like I went into your building and it's super clean and you got the office room, and I already knew that was going to be a thing. And I wasn't in when you were talking to your employees, but I know how that goes because of how you talk to people. But I did that for somebody else, a friend of mine, and man, it was very opposite. Like, he had this Friday meeting and I was going to talk. He was constantly talking over his employees. And I was watching them like rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
I had never seen him act like that. He was like this dictator.
Yeah.
After this, bro, I don't even know how these guys are here.
Wow.
They hate you. And he was like, yeah, this guy's a dick. And I said, bro, you got to kill all that. You got to uplift people, make them excited to come to this meeting. Want them to go out there and kill it for you. He was doing the opposite. And
You got to encourage. If you talk
there's
down,
guys listening to this, they know exactly who that guy is. They work for him. And they're like, oh, God. But I got rent and I got kid and I got to do it. It's so easy to be the other guy. That doesn't mean you get walked over. You
That's
just
right.
do exactly what you say you're going to do. And you have to authentically let them know, I got your back. I want you to win. Here's ways you can do it with me. What do you want to do? And let me get behind you. Same thing we do for our kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to tell our kids, you have to go do this. You got to be an entrepreneur. If they're into it, I'm going to show you out. If you want to be a doctor, I'm going to get behind that. You have to do that for your employees. If you do that, you can create a culture.
When it comes to people, most leaders run their people out of emotion instead of out of facts, instead of out of framework, instead of out of systems.
Yep.
And that's where you come in with those burnt out leaders that think they're the only genius because all they do is focus on the negatives. Someone said this one time and it really stuck with me. And they said, if you want the positives, the positive things to keep showing up, then focus on the positive things. If you want the negatives to stay, then focus on the negatives and keep amplifying the negatives. And there was a time where all I could see was the negative that was happening in my organization. And I had a business coach that reiterated that situation to me. And she said, Chris, if you will sit there and start focusing on what was done. And I'm like, this is just like bare minimum. You're telling me to celebrate bare minimum? She said, watch what will happen. Start celebrating the bare minimum. Doesn't mean it's okay for the negative to happen, but start celebrating the bare minimum and then gradually start coaching the negative, and your culture will shift into a positive. And now they want to achieve because that recognition comes in. Because right now, most organizations are only recognizing what's negative. And so what's happening then, that's what, for them to get noticed, they're thinking the negative is what they've got to do to get that recognition, to get noticed. Very true. It's a psychological thing that we don't even realize. So to move on to the fourth life skill characteristic is service. We've talked about this on past podcasts, and I think to start it off, we really need to highlight the fact that real service is genuine. It's a give without expecting a get. And most people go in giving, expecting a get, and if they don't get back after they've given, then they're pissed off.
Yep.
And I know we talk about it as a strategy. You can go in and you can give one service away for free or at a steep discount, something, and that's your in. That's kind of like, just experience the process with us and then you'll fall in love with it. Another thing is, I know for me on my affiliate and referral partners, we go and we're constantly giving. We'll go by local shops and do dinners and stuff like that. And we just kind of wine and dine them and gift bag them. And that builds law of reciprocity. But at the end of the day, although it is in anticipation that I'm going to get back, there is a level of, I don't really care if they give back because I know I'm doing it in such volume. Someone's going to give me opportunity to perform service for payment. And I know you've talked about you'd go hit the clubhouse in the gutters and you would give it for free because it gave them a chance. And then what happened? Well, you did such a good job here. How much is it going to be for the rest of the buildings? And they would open up where before they didn't even want an estimate or quote from you.
Yeah.
And I think when you get that commission breath off your mouth and you move in and you're like, I'm going to go and my mission is to just give, to help someone hit what they're trying to get in life. And that could just be solving a problem when we're talking about business and customers. Then you're going to find that if you do it with, I'm going to do this, if I get something back, fantastic. If not, no big deal, because you're going to do it in such volume, you'll find that your customers will start to flood in and you will have a higher law of reciprocity, a higher give back from that person you just gave to because they feel the genuineness.
Yeah, you have to look at it, the law of reciprocity. It will happen. So that is a real thing. Anybody can look that up. If you just give enough, it'll come back to you. But don't keep score on it. So on those clubhouses, I was keeping track. I would say in my head, over the next month, I'm going to probably do 50 of these. That's a lot because I was out all the time walking around. And I was like literally in nice clothes, and then I would go and change and then go do it. And I'm probably, I was doing it all the time. I was just thinking about over time, this is going to pay off. And it did massively. Some of it was like, hey, we have another place. Can you go drive down there? I literally would drive to that place. Yeah. They needed, I just talked to them. Some of it would come 2 days later. Some of it would come months later. I had ones that came a year later. It's just, I created this snowball. So I was just looking at it as like, this is just the work I'm doing. I didn't keep track. Like I didn't keep score on everyone. Lots of people I did stuff for free. It's okay.
We've seen this in Blue Collar Millionaire on the big group. I mean, we're knocking on the door of 300,000 members, and it started with let's just drop a bunch of value stuff that we would tell our early entrepreneur selves, and we'll bring guests on and let them tell their story from their version of business and success. And then the next thing you know, you have got a community that runs itself, that drops a ton of value. There's beginners in there. Yeah. There's whales of business individuals that's done multiple exits at 7, 8, 9 figures. And it's just such an amazing community. But it started with a give, and we ended up getting into the windshield business because of that. We've had opportunities to be able to receive income. We've had business opportunities because we decided to give with no strings attached in the beginning.
If we just got that one thing off it, it was worth it.
Absolutely.
Just that one thing. Here's the thing, what I do is a lot of you guys probably listen to this and have messaged me, and I go back and forth with them. Sometimes guys are surprised. They're like, man, I feel like I'm bothering you. Yeah. Because I'll go back and forth for 30 minutes. Yeah. And I like to get in, I'll ask them questions, and I'll break down what I think they should do. And I'm not doing that, of course. And a lot of guys, they initially say, hey, man, I want to pick your brain. Can we hop on a call? And I always say the same thing. Hey, I don't do calls, but happy to message you here because I don't want to just do 20 random calls a week. Like, that's my new life. Right. But I like the messages. It's on my time. It's 10 o'clock at night. My son's asleep. I'm sitting there. Other people are watching TV or doom scrolling. I'm helping guys. But through that, I know what will happen. It will be more windshield deals because I'm already in talks with a lot of people. And I always tell people, hey, we start talking about doing a deal. I say, hey, this is how I am. I'm going to help you regardless. And if it doesn't work out, we don't need to do it. I'll tell you what I'd be interested in, and I'll leave you better off than I found you. People don't really want to do that. They want to, hey, pay me thousands of dollars to consult, and then, maybe I'll help you kind of stuff. I just help people, and it will all come back. Yeah. And I don't mind the 99% who just took my information and made money. I like that. Yeah. I don't need anything.
I like to study what's worked in my life. I like to study what's worked in other people's lives, in the leverage, the arbitrage, the people and service, giver's gain kind of service. That is consistent in everything that I've seen that has success.
And then the giving thing, see, you did it. That's why you stuck out to me before we knew each other. I saw you on doing lives and everything, and people might say, oh, they're building their own brand. That's just a byproduct of it. But you look in our group, Brian Gottlieb. Yeah. He has literally probably called 100 members. I might have had 10 people tell me. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to him.
He gives back so much.
He had 100 million plus exit. Yeah. He does it for nothing. Then we know guys who get on stage. They don't want to talk to anybody. They have this thing that they think that they're something they're not.
Yeah.
And then guys, I had a mentor probably worth 75 million. If I want to talk to him at 11:30 at night or 6 in the morning, he was like, just call.
Yeah.
He just wanted to give back. He didn't want anything. So many of the high level guys, they just like to be in the game and want to give a thing. And those people get back something else, right? Brian might get in some deals. Brian, he might like just helping people. And my mentor, when he told me on our last thing, when he was passing away, he said, I got way more out of this than you got from me. And I know what he means. Like, he liked having this younger guy do it, and he liked it, and he enjoyed it.
It's a sense of passing the mantle down for him.
So everybody wants
I've learned
something.
all of this.
So they're just giving, and then they're getting back something in return.
Yeah. I like that.
That's good.
All right, Blue Collar Millionaires. Y'all go on bluecollarmillionaire.net if you're looking for more ways to plug into the community. We've got the free community. We've got Boardroom Elite, which is private coaching, mentoring group that me and Kevin run. We meet weekly on those. We have 3 meetups a year. There's private message chat. There's private Facebook group where we get real nitty gritty and open up the playbooks. I'm talking about financials, everything. So if you're looking for something like that, then occasionally we do pop-up events as well. So go to bluecollarmillionaire.net. That'll let you see what's happening and stay plugged in. And then take this and apply something that you heard from it. Because at the end of the day, don't be an information junkie. If you never apply anything, then nothing's going to change in your life. I want you to live in success, and we'll see you on the next week's podcast.